So Oleksandr Usyk is going to be defending his WBC Heavyweight Championship title against a kickboxer. And a very well-known kickboxer. His name is Rico Verhoeven. This guy's done a lot. He's a legend in his own, within his world of kickboxing. Guys, this is not an exhibition fight. This is not a novelty fight. This is a professionally sanctioned bout that's going to be 12 rounds for the heavyweight championship title, the WBC Heavyweight Championship title. And it's all taking place, guys, guess where? In the Pyramids of Giza, right in Egypt. Guys, the locations are getting even better. It's getting more creative. Like, imagine, like, what does that mean exactly? When I think about the Pyramids of Giza, I'm thinking about literally a boxing ring right there with the backdrop. The pyramids as their backdrop. I mean, this is this is so crazy. I'm starting to think maybe 4,000 years ago, if the ancient Egyptians actually did something similar in fashion. But I mean, back then, it all depends. The pyramids may or may not have been fully constructed, but depending on the era and the time. But can you imagine, guys? Can you imagine? So anyhow, this is going down. It's going to happen. It's going to be a professionally sanctioned 12-round bout for the WBC heavyweight title. Oleksandr Usyk, Rico Verhoeven, the Pyramids of Egypt, the Pyramids of Giza, and it's going to be absolutely incredible. And guess what, guys? These conversations that were happening back and forth, there were some skeptics, some insiders, professional boxing insiders that said this match is never going to happen. It's never going to get approved. And it got approved. All right. So let's talk about it, guys. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome back. Welcome to Duality 7X. I'm your host, Shiraz. Guys, this is where we cover all the craziest headlines that's happening in the world of combat sports, boxing, WWE, UFC, and MMA. It's absolutely uncanny, the time that we're living in. Somebody actually commented, they're like, no, these are just clickbait titles and clickbait videos I'm doing. Guys, there's no clickbait here. I'm actually reporting the stuff that is legitimately happening. I would never. Now, this doesn't really shock me as much. But when I see guys like Sugar Sean O'Malley accepting a challenge, a call out from Dean the Great, who's a boxing, an influencer boxer, and he's ready to go. Like, he's ready to make that happen. I mean, if the money and the logistics can actually work itself, that fight could potentially happen. And then just yesterday, I did a video on Ilya Topuria and Jake Paul, just like cussing each other out and calling each other out live on Aiden Ross's kick stream. We had Jake Paul take on Anthony Joshua. That wasn't clickbait. Jake Paul was supposed to fight Gervonta Tank Davis prior to him fighting Joshua. That wasn't clickbait. All right. Jake Paul versus Anderson Silva, Tyrone Woodley, Ben Askren. I mean, I could go on and on and on. That wasn't clickbait. Now we're talking about Floyd Money Mayweather just going to be taking on Manny Pacquiao. And that's going to be happening in September. And that's going to be that match is going to be the first ever live boxing match that's going to be taking place at the Sphere in Las Vegas. And it's going to be live streamed globally via Netflix. This is going to change the way people watch and see their combat sports. Pay-per-views are, the whole concept of pay-per-view is going to change altogether, guys. Watch. And it could be a good thing. And prior to that, Floyd Mayweather has agreed to fight Mike Tyson on April 25th in the Congo in Africa. All right? And now there's there's going to be a lot of more crossover fights that are going to happen between boxers and MMA fighters and influencer boxers. It's going to go on and on and on, guys. So, yeah, what might have been clickbait like literally 5, 7 years ago no longer applies anymore because all of it is legit and it's all happening. Now, whether you can do, whether you like this or not, if you want to keep boxing with boxing, MMA with MMA, you don't like the crossover stuff, and influencer boxers can just have their own little thing. That's fine. I respect that. But it's happening, guys, because you have to understand there's a lot of big, powerful businessmen and the big networks are looking at all of these things as huge, huge money makers. So they get excited. And when this much hype starts to build, especially on social media platforms, advertisers want a piece. They're like, whoa, whoa, whoa. How come this one video is getting umpteens of thousands of views? I want to make sure that my ads right there, I want people to see my stuff. And then the networks take hold of that. And the social media companies, the networks, they're like, you know what, let's work together and let's start creating advertising space. And they make hand over fist money, guys. It's a big game. It's a big game, and there's a lot of people who are profiting off of it, and there's a lot of people who want a piece of it. So anyways, guys, um, if you guys are new here, please smash a like and subscribe and hit the notifications so you guys never miss a beat. Let's get into the details here, the fight details. Oleksandr Usyk, as I mentioned, is going to defend his WBC Heavyweight Championship title against none other than the Glory Kickboxing King, Rico Verhoeven. And that's all going to go down May 23rd, guys, in Egypt, the Pyramids in Gaza. And it's actually they've labeled this fight as the Glory in Giza. I think I said Gaza. It's the Pyramids in Giza, not Gaza. But yes, this is called the Glory in Giza, and it's going to be streaming live on the Zone. Some would say DAZN. People don't like it when I say DAZN, so I'll say DAZN. Anyways, Usyk enters this fight 24-0. Just think about that for a second. 24 wins, no losses, 15 by way of knockout. He's a former undisputed cruiserweight champion of the world. And he's got 2 wins over Tyson Fury in 2024. And he stopped Daniel Dubois just recently, guys, if you remember that fight in London, and that happened in the 5th round. Now, Usyk is widely regarded as probably one of the best heavyweights in our era. And I'm not going to argue with that because he's incredible. He's literally cleaned the mat with every single fighter he's fought. You know? And now, across from him is going to be Rico Verhoeven. The man's 36 years old. He's got 76 kickboxing fights. Okay, 76 kickboxing fights, 66 wins. All right, which means he only lost 10. That's an impressive record, very impressive record. And he's been doing this, guys, for well over a decade. All right, now that's kickboxing, which means he gets to utilize his hands, his feet, his legs. But in boxing, you don't get that opportunity. It's strictly striking. It's strictly your hands, your footwork, your timing, your distance control, and really how to execute the hundreds of different kinds of styles of punches and combos and variants that you could do, right? One professional fight, one knockout back in 2014 for this dude, but that's it. That's still pretty good, but I mean, and that's not a bad thing as per se, but it's, I mean, somebody will just argue the fact that he tried it, but he's more of a kickboxer, not a boxer, and that's cool. That's fine. But now he's going to be fighting a boxing fight with boxing rules against probably one of the greatest heavyweight champions that has ever lived. That's a tall order. Like if this was Rico Verhoeven, maybe taking on Anthony Joshua, Daniel Dubois, Wardley, Ruiz, Chisora, Wilder. I mean, you know, maybe even Tyson Fury and or how about Francis Ngannou? Francis Ngannou, who's both a UFC, MMA legend, and he's also done quite well in boxing. I mean, he's lost to Tyson Fury, to Anthony Joshua, but he put on a heck of a fight against Tyson Fury. All right, so that would be interesting. Like I'm not against this fight. I'm actually quite intrigued, quite interested to see the outcome and to see what happens. But I mean, Rico Verhoeven is like, again, I'm not undermining the efforts and the talents by the aforementioned boxers that I just listed off, uh, in no alphabetical order, of course. But I mean, Usyk is in a league of his own. Okay. And I'm not just saying that because I'm not trying to be biased here. He's actually proven himself to be in that category. So how can you argue that? Right? So this is where the narrative starts to shift a little bit, right? You got kickboxing dominance, you've got um, elite level boxing. These two worlds are going to collide. All right. There's no kicks to control the distance, no knees in the clinch, right? No working on the inside using your knees or trying to, uh, trying to do a takedown, or no scoring with like, I mean, you can't, yeah, there's no grappling. This is, guys, this is not an MMA fight. This is not a kickboxing fight. All right. We're talking about straight up boxing. You're going to have to know how to punch in the many, many different ways he can punch, right? And you're doing all that against a man who has literally built his entire career, his entire game, right, on angles, his timing, footwork, the things, his the things that Oleksandr Usyk has been able to achieve as a fighter in the cruiserweight, light heavyweight, heavyweight division. It rivals. It marvels what a lot of other fighters, okay, in his weight class have been able to do. Muhammad Ali was an exception to the rule. He fought as a heavyweight, but he was really more, I mean, he moved around like a cruiserweight, like a light heavyweight, you know? And and then there's some heavyweights that are literally just big heavyweight dudes. And they don't really move. They just punch and they're stationary. But in this game, I mean, and Tyson Fury too. You got to give Tyson credit. Tyson Fury is one of those guys is a big guy, but the man can move. The man can move, and he's quick. All right. So the dynamics of the heavyweight division when it comes to heavyweight boxing has changed altogether. All right. It's a different world now. These guys are fighting at a completely different level, a different class. So yeah, it is getting tougher. And you're starting to see a lot of crossover training as well, where you're seeing boxers learning how to train with MMA athletes training with boxers. I mean, just recently, Anthony Joshua was hanging out with Khabib Nurmagomedov, and they were hanging out at his training camp. He was training with them. He spent a couple weeks there. I mean, guys, there's the dynamics of combat sports in itself is changing, not just from a skill level, fighter level, operational as well. Like, things are happening all around. The way we see combat sports is changing altogether. Pretty soon, there's going to be no real clear distinction or separation between MMA and boxing. I mean, aside that they are two different, completely two different sports, yes, that we can establish, but now the younger generation is just going to grow up accustomed to the fact that both of these are, both are okay, both are good, and their favorite stars are going to be crossing over and not necessarily fighting in the other sport, but perhaps maybe training, which will make it really easier to digest for a lot of people. Because when I was growing up, the boxing was on one end of the spectrum and MMA was on a completely different end of the spectrum, and there was there wasn't as much intermingling between the fighters and the people that were involved, operationally speaking, in the sport. Now it's completely different. Now Dana White not only runs the UFC, okay, but he also runs Zuffa Boxing. Okay, so yeah, it's interesting. Now you got the TKO group with Nick Khan, and you're starting to see a lot of the WWE guys coming down to MMA events, boxing events, vice versa. Man, guys, it's an exciting time. It's an exciting time. So, anyways, under boxing rules, yeah. Okay, well, we were talking about Oleksandr Usyk, and yes, the other thing I forgot to mention is his ring IQ is next level, guys. All right, the margin of error between his, in his fights are a lot less than his opponents and other fighters in the sport. That's what makes Oleksandr so special, and that's what makes him so tough to beat, right? So he's got that amazing jab. He knows how to control his jab. I tell everybody, man, sometimes the jab could be your best friend. Look at Sean Strickland. He took on Anthony Hernandez, right? Uh, just recently in UFC Houston. And I think Sean did a lot of his damage in the early rounds just through his jab. His jab control was next level. And that's what separates a smart fighter between a good fighter, right? A good fighter knows how to utilize all his skills and tools, or he or she, to the best of their ability. But a smart fighter knows how to work, doesn't have to work as hard, just has to work smarter, knowing when to use your jabs, knowing when to use, your timing, your footwork, and knowing how to box, right? That's called ring IQ. And that develops over time. And actually, for some folks, they've been in the industry long enough, they still don't have it. But for a lot of guys, sometimes they pick it up relatively quicker. So this is just shocking to me, guys, because there's so much that's going on and it's absolutely incredible. But yeah, I mean, understanding your jab and understanding your distance control, this is what Oleksandr Usyk is known for. He's also very good at his defense. He knows how to defend well, and his stamina is unbelievable. His conditioning is next level. He knows how to fight 12 rounds. He can actually go maybe 24, 36 rounds if really needed, right? Guys like Canelo Alvarez, after he lost to Terence Crawford, even Canelo was like, I could still go on. I could still go on. I could do another 12 more rounds, but the fight was over. So Usyk lives in that environment. The question comes down to is, can Rico reciprocate even a little bit of that, and to be able to maybe not necessarily live in that environment, but can he adapt to that kind of environment? So the WBC sanctioning body has officially approved this fight, okay? There's no circus crossovers here, guys. They did a lot of, they really looked into this very carefully, meticulously, and they decided this is not influencer boxing fighting. This is straight up, like, Rico Verhoeven is a legit fighter, guys. He's a kickboxing champion. He's one of the greats of all time, and he's 36 years old. I think Usyk is 39, and there's hints of Usyk retiring as well too, pretty soon. So this is going to be a very interesting fight. Very interesting fight. And I mean, guys, like, this is a real world heavyweight championship bout. All right. Now, Turkey. What are some people saying about this? Or, well, His Excellency Turki Alalshikh dismissed the idea that this is light entertainment. He called it a very dangerous fight, and he's right for many, many reasons. Right? Dangerous because Rico is just a legitimate combat athlete with elite experience, especially under pressure. And that's important because I've seen a lot of guys fight Usyk under pressure and they buckle and they just can't recover. Verhaven's one of those guys. He'll know how to, when the going gets tough, he'll know what to do to pull out of his arsenal to be able to contend against that kind of aggression, right? but it could also be dangerous in another way. It kind of blurs the lines between, boxing's, uh, between boxing and perhaps maybe kickboxing, or maybe what the word I'm looking for is more kind of like something to do with spectacle. And I'm thinking maybe spectacle matchmaking, perhaps. But it's some people are going to look at this and going to be like, oh no, this is a crossover fight. This is a circus fight, or it's a spectacle. It's not. It's not. These guys are going to straight up box, and they're going to, you know, they're going to do some hurt on one another. All right. And look at the venue now. Like just from an entertainment perspective. I mean, they're doing this in Egypt. Backdrop, I believe, is going to be the Pyramids of Giza. Like, come on. That's going to garnish some global attention 100%. Right? So anyhow, guys, like, Liam Harrison, Muay Thai fighter, Muay Thai veteran, legend. He also weighed in on this, and he said that nobody can beat Usyk, not in a boxing fight. And I mean, Joshua couldn't put a dent in him, right? Not just Joshua, even Tyson Fury. If they couldn't beat Usyk, no one is. No one is. And that statement alone carries a lot of weight, right? So, say what you want, but Liam Harrison's a bona fide fighter, man. This guy's a Muay Thai legend. He's a veteran. He knows what's up. He understands. He understands crossover transitions. I mean, he does expect that Rico will try to, come out there aggressive early, but also understands that there's going to be a huge gap between elite kickboxing and elite heavyweight boxing. And that gap is not marginal. It's quite big, not small at all. And it's going to be a technical fight. It's going to be tactical, and psychological as well too. I want to see some of the pressers leading up to this and see what happens, right? But anyways, guys, this is boxing versus kickboxing kind of legitimacy. We've got sanctioning body politics. I think the WBC, I think they proved it for a lot of reasons. One of those reasons is they have to contend against the likes of Zuffa, Dana White. And Dana White's already come out swinging hard. He's not here to make friends, guys. And I don't think he really respects a lot of these sanctioning bodies like the WBC, WBO, the WBA, the IBF. I think he wants all those guys to be gone. Or he's just trying to take over and just rule them all. And so I think the WBC is also starting to see that some of their fighters are starting to not have as much interest in repping the belts anymore. And they're also quite interested in switching allegiances from their promoters and going over to Zuffa, like in the case of Conor Benn, who was with Eddie Hearn, Matchroom Boxing, for so many years. Conor Benn successfully beat Chris Eubank Jr. just recently, and I mean, it was a big moment for Conor and for Eddie and for what they've been able to accomplish together as a team. And then just like that, Conor Benn switches colors and walks across the floor over to Zuffa Entertainment, or Zuffa Boxing, sorry, with Dana White, and signs a deal that's worth 8 figures, $15 million, a one-fight deal. There's no loyalty in boxing. Terence Crawford said it himself. There's no loyalty in boxing, guys. This is about these guys just looking to maximize their value potential, and they got to put food on the table for their families, and they're going to do what they think is best for their families. All right? And when you got Saudi-backed like super events like this, I mean, combat sports bleed into this. They love it. So this is going to be a big fight, guys. This is going to be a huge fight. And if Usyk wins convincingly, well, it just kind of reinforces boxing's hierarchy altogether, right? If Verhoeven makes it competitive and complicated for Usyk, then and possibly even lose, then it validates crossover credibility. But I mean, it's okay for him to lose so long as he does some damage and he gives Usyk a really good challenge. Then it'll add some credibility, some validity to the whole crossover thing. But if Usyk wins decisively, then it's like, who's next? Who's next? Jaylen Brown? Dwight Howard? I don't know. But anyways, guys, I mean, unless and of course something dramatic happens in a fight, and that could happen. I mean, a fighter could slip on a banana peel. You never know. Sometimes it's just that one right hook from the heavens that the boxer doesn't see, and that could end the match. And that's what Jake Paul was hoping for when he fought Anthony Joshua, because Anthony Ruiz told him what to do, because Anthony Ruiz did the same thing to AJ a long time back. But realistically, guys, realistically, I believe this is Oleksandr Usyk's fight to control. The question really comes down to, isn't, like, it's not about can Rico fight. We know Rico can fight. The question comes down to is, can Rico fight an elite champion at an elite championship boxing level for 12 rounds against probably one of the greatest heavyweight, technically sound heavyweight fighters in this era? Because if Rico does a great job, if he wins, forget it. That's next level stuff. But if he loses but gives a good challenge to Usyk, then we might see Rico back and taking on the likes of another fighter. That would be crazy. That would be crazy. Or maybe he sets it up for Jake Paul and Rico Verhoeven, perhaps maybe in a professionally sanctioned bout. Who knows? So anyways, guys, that's what I have. Who knows? Maybe these things are all kind of coming to fruition in a parallel universe, but now some of that's coming into ours. I totally respect Rico's courage. I love watching his fights. He's such an entertaining fighter. He's very entertaining. He's like a phenom, guys. Like, I mean, wow, I can't wait for this fight to actually happen now. I mean, this is kind of like, I mean, I don't even know what to expect. I really don't. But I mean, this feels like it's going to be a global spectacle. You know, it's built, honestly, guys, it's built around like dominant champions, guys like Usyk and Verhoeven. Like, I think this is a good fight. From a matchmaking perspective, I think it's going to be great. And it's going to be a statement fight, guys. Honestly, may not necessarily be that much of a competitive one, but it will be a statement fight at the end of the day. And look, unless Rico has reinvented himself, and I don't know what his boxing training is like, but I know he knows how to box. That's part of what he does as a career. But, you know, I mean, over the past year, I guess is what I'm alluding to, is I'm not sure what he's done over the past year, but this should be a technical masterclass by Usyk, unless and of course, Rico can flip the script on one of the greatest of all times. Guys, that's what I have. And remember, in heavyweight boxing, it takes one shot, honestly, one shot. And that's why we watch. That's why we watch. So guys, I want to thank you guys for sticking around. I want to know what you guys think. You put your thoughts and comments below. I'll answer your comments. If you have any questions, if you'd like to see me talking about perhaps maybe another fight or fighter or whatever, please put your thoughts and comments below. And look, we're watching the evolution of crossover matchmaking at the top level. So I hope you guys are going to be entertained, because I'm highly entertained. And drop your predictions and comments below. Smash the like and subscribe. Hit the notification so you guys never miss a beat. And I look forward to catching you guys in tomorrow's video.